Okay, so when we're doing our value scale, we know that the estimated length from our thumb to our fingertip is about 5 inches. Okay, so for our shading test, what we are going to do is we are going to make a value scale that's approximately 6 inches. Okay, I'm going to be able to tell that because you're going to include a common object that I can use to reference the size of your value scale. So it can be a ruler or a straight edge that has measurement markings on it, but you cannot use the ruler or straight edge to draw your value scale because part of what I'm testing here is that you are gaining coordination drawing horizontal and vertical lines. Okay, so when you first start to set up your paper, what you should do is you should draw a horizontal line that is approximately the right length. So we know to approximate with our hand, that's about 5 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to extend it out just a little bit. Okay, so that's approximately a 6-inch long value scale. Okay, I will drop a line that is no shorter than 1 inch. Okay, so it should be no shorter than 1 inch. And that will be my vertical height. Okay, then I will enclose my value scale with another horizontal line. So we are reinforcing knowledge that we have already gained, hopefully, from our assignments. We have vertical lines, we have horizontal lines. Okay, we have coordination. Okay, so we should be able to do a pretty straight horizontal line because of our practicing, and we should be able to drop vertical lines because of our practicing. Okay, so when we divide this value scale, what we are going to do is we are going to divide it in thirds visually. So this is my suggestion. Okay, I would like you to leave your hatch marks for your divisions very lightly outside of your value scale. Okay, so you see the hatch marks are outside of my value scale because I am requiring that you have no hard lines. Okay, so what I have now is I have 3 sections. In order to turn 3 sections into 4 spaces each, we will come up with 12 total spaces. Okay, so in order to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to look at one space. We're going to divide it in half with a vertical line. Then we're going to divide those 2 spaces in half with vertical lines. Okay, so I've got 4 spaces here. 4 times 3 is 12. So I will do the same thing to these other 2 spaces. Okay, I'm going to divide it in half. Then I'm going to divide those spaces in half. Now I have 8. Okay, I will go to the last space, do the very same thing. I'm going to divide it in half. And then I'm going to divide that in half. Okay, so I did leave my hatch marks outside of my value scales. Okay, it might be a good idea to have another piece of paper handy, something that you don't care about, so that when you're shading you can block so your hand doesn't smear your work. Okay, so I want to go through the deductions list for you just to make sure that you get an A on the test. Okay, so we will get a 2-point deduction. They're always 2 points. I'll just put 2 points here so that I don't have to write that a whole bunch. Okay, 2-point deductions. Okay, we are looking at deductions for quality. So if it's sloppy, that'd be 2 points. Okay, we're looking at deductions for clarity, meaning that our picture has to be nice and crystal clear so it has to so it can be evaluated. Okay, orientation. You should be submitting a photograph that is not upside down or sideways. At this point in the year, we should definitely have that down. Okay, we will get deductions if we have line work in shading. Okay, so line work in shading will be deducted by 2 points. Okay, if we have hard lines in our value scale, we will have a 2-point deduction. So you'll learn more about that in a moment, but basically if this line right here is drawn really hard and it interrupts the value transition, then we'll get a 2-point deduction. I need to look back and make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, the last and final thing, we need to have a lower right signature. Now, this is the first time this is being required as part of a score, okay? When we sign our work, in order to receive credit for the signature, the last letter cannot pass the end of our value scale, okay? So when I sign my name, when I'm finished, I'm going to sign my name first and last, and it cannot go past the end of my value scale. So that looks good. All right. So let's get on to the shading part so you guys can get plenty of instruction for that. I always recommend that you use a regular wooden pencil. Okay, I'm going to place a little bit of pressure on you guys that are using mechanical pencils, because that is certainly possible, but it takes too much time. Okay, way too much time. Okay, so I'd rather that you use a wooden pencil and that your lead is nice and prepared. For some reason, I get this bulb on the end of my lead when I sharpen it in my sharpener. It just happens to be a characteristic of my sharpener, I think. So on the side, I'm always trying to scrub that off and make it even so it doesn't mess my shading up. Okay. All right, so here we go to start. Notice I've got the hatch marks extending beyond my value scale because I don't want to lose my spaces. Okay. I have to make it all the way out to the end in order to get an 8. So I'll go ahead and write the grading rubric in here as a bit of encouragement. Okay. I'm going to start at the second box, and I'm going to apply a single layer of light value all the way to the end. Okay. So I'm going to keep in mind your voice is in a recording right now. I'm going to reach out to Breeza actually. Breeza, when I start this value scale, give me some advice about the first box.
Start off light, don't press too hard.
That's great advice, actually. Don't press at all. Let your pencil just kind of drag on that paper and go in multiple directions to make sure that you're not getting lines, just like Breeza was saying. Start off light. Now, Breeza, why would you say start off light? Just that I know you have a lot of experience drawing. Tell me a good reason why a person should start off really light doing a test like this.
Because it's really hard to erase and go back whenever you go really hard or you press hard. It's easier to, if it's too light, just like go over it.
That's actually excellent advice. So it's always best to build gradually because it's more difficult to erase. So the other thing is we have to go 12 spaces to get an A, okay? So we've got to go clear down to the end, 12 spaces to get an A. And if we start off too dark, we're not going to make it. We're going to get stuck around 7 more than likely. And my advice to you always is go in multiple directions. You can move in circles and go super slow. Okay, this is a lot of reinforcement on that advice about going slow, because if you go too fast, you're going to make lines. Okay, we're also carrying a value all the way to the end. Notice I'm filling all the boxes up with my first layer of value, and I'm going in multiple directions. So I want to make them all the same level of value when I start, and then I'll go back to the beginning and I'll add another layer. Okay. So my second layer is not going to have much pressure either. I'm just going to keep on going to the end, and I'm going to stage this out. So I think this is a real gift to you guys, because 25% is a letter grade and a half. This is your chance. If you have a B, you can get an A in the class today if you ace this test. Okay. So that means that your grade will jump 25% if you get a 10 on this. Okay, so this, hopefully you are viewing this as a gift. And I wanted to talk about mindset just for a moment. Okay, you should be so comfortable with this that you also are viewing this as a piece of proof of your knowledge as opposed to a test or an assignment. Okay. So if you guys can change your mindset about what an assignment is, and I think that's going to really help us move forward, okay? An assignment should be a piece of evidence for you and for me that you've mastered the objective, okay? So value is the difference between light and dark. It is the most basic way to create the illusion of form on a paper, Okay, so we've already been going over form a lot. Form is the illusion of a third dimension on a flat piece of paper. Okay, so what we're doing is we're adding depth. So a shape really only has height and width, and a form has depth. So we just did that quadrant form assignment. Before that, we did the 9-box assignment or the 8-box assignment for beginners. Okay, we shaded those in. Okay, we've already done some shading on some value scales in the past, so we should be pretty comfortable with this. So I hope that you view this as a gift, okay, and that your mindset is, all right, this is my chance to either really secure my A or maybe to take my grade from a B to an A. Okay, so if you have a B today, hopefully tomorrow you'll have an A because I gave you this shading test. So like I said, we're always trying to find ways to improve as a department. Okay, one of those things is to give skill-based tests. Okay, so vocabulary is kind of inherent, it comes along with it. Okay, so this is value and it's a shading test. It's giving you an opportunity to use your skills to get by an exam and prove that you've mastered this coordinated skill. So again, part of our objective is to improve as a department, and our goal is to have advanced students come in with a lot of skills. So if we test our advanced students this year in this manner, and our beginning students in this manner, then next year when we get advanced students, they will already be able to do a 12 value scale, and they'll come in, and if we were to test them on day one, they could knock this out of the ballpark real easy. Okay, so given our current circumstance, we're in distance learning. You guys are getting this, like I said, as a gift. Okay, in the future, advanced students will be expected to do 16 values of control. Okay, so right now we're only doing 12. Hopefully you guys are working on yours right now while I'm working on mine, because I plan on working on this for the whole entire period so that you can see a visual demonstration on how to succeed and how to get an A. It is 100% always my goal to give you an A and to design curriculum that makes it possible for the average student who works hard to earn an A. Okay, we don't want to eliminate anybody from art because of fear or talent. Okay, we want to make it possible for every student to earn an A who wants to work hard and who wants to give us the evidence and the proof. Okay, so we also don't want to hand A's out that people haven't worked for. Okay, so far so good. We've got a lot of excellent work. I've been sharing with you a lot of those pictures. So I'm super proud of you guys, and your GPAs are really, really good. Okay, and I hope that this assignment today makes your GPAs even better. All right, so I'm on 3. I think there might be a couple of you guys that are further along than me. I know there's 3 or 4 of you in the class that I think have a lot of experience with value. If you get a lot of value down and your hand's going to interfere with something that you've done, again, use a blocking technique like cover it up with another piece of paper. Okay, have an understanding of the texture of the surface that you're working on. The paper that I'm working on might not be the same texture as the paper that you're working on. Okay, so a computer paper is really smooth. Drawing paper tends to be a little bit less smooth. It has a little bit more grip to it. Okay, so if you happen to have a paper with a heavier texture, then that might be taking your graphite a little bit quicker, and that's just your job as the artist to make those visual assessments and go back in there and cure any problem that starts up. Okay, so I have not gone down to the end of my pencil in my grip yet. Okay, I'm holding way back and I'm going slow and I'm building up this value. Okay, now this is the second value scale I've done today. When it's all said and done, I will have done 6, but I already think that this value scale is already looking better than my first one. Okay, and that's really inherent to the idea of repetitive practice. Okay, so I'll flip back to that first one and show you guys what it looks like. I think my second value in this one got too dark too fast, but I was still able to make it to the end. Okay, notice that the end is really opaque and there isn't much paper texture showing anymore. If you're already getting a shiny texture back in 789, then you're definitely going too fast. Okay, so go slow. Take advantage of the fact that you're getting this value scale shading test. And understand that this is also a piece of evidence of accountability. So when we go on to shade forms in the future, I should see the same amount of control. Okay, I plan on doing some more assignments and more instruction on shading forms in the round. Okay, so round forms like cones and spheres again and cylinders. Okay, so don't be surprised if in the future you also get a test on shading a sphere or shading a cone or shading a cylinder. All of those are testable forms and they're all achievable by the average student, which is really, really cool. So we're making sure that all of you have opportunities to earn the good grades that you're hoping to achieve. Okay, so this is something that was a response to the quadrant form assignment. It was just time to give the assessment for it because I know I have a lot of really, really intelligent, hardworking students. And I think sometimes during this part of the year, October, November, we start to hit a bit of a lull and we start to rush through stuff because we've been in school for half of a semester. But this is, again, a piece of accountability to make sure that you guys understand that no artwork should ever be done in a rush that is supposed to show a great deal of form or value. Okay, it should be done slowly and gradually. So it's possible with a mechanical pencil. I have no doubt that I'll get one or two students who will turn something in that was completed with a mechanical pencil and it will be excellent. It just takes an unbelievable amount of patience and it takes extra time. Okay, so if you have a mechanical pencil and you are just going to use that for the rest of your life as a pencil artist, that's fine. No big deal. It's just going to take you more time. Okay, so the recommendation of the wooden pencil is because it's time saver and it's a little bit easier than using a mechanical pencil. If you wear down a mechanical pencil to a 45-degree angle on the end of the lead, it will certainly be possible for you to achieve the same thing. Okay, so just as far as the video is concerned about the grading and the rubric, I want you guys to just make sure that you understand where the deductions will be coming from so that you don't accidentally earn a lower grade on this than you intended. Okay, so quality refers to the quality of the image. Okay, so obviously I cannot evaluate your value stages if you send me a blurry picture. So you have to make sure that that picture that you submit is not blurry, it is crystal clear. Okay, so I'm sorry, quality refers to the quality of your work. Clarity refers to the crystal clear image. So the quality means, did this student do a nice, neat job as they tried to complete the value scale? That is really easy to evaluate. Any one of you could evaluate that. You look at it. If it looks rushed and sloppy, of course you would take 2 points off of it right away. Okay, that doesn't necessarily mean the content is not there. The content might be there, but it's very unlikely on a test like this that it would be a good score if quality was not there. Okay, orientation. Orientation means, did you submit your assignment right side up? Okay, if this is upside down, it's minus 2 points. Okay, line work and shading. If you rush this assignment, you will have line work in your shading. So it is your goal to make sure that you do not have hard lines in your shading. Okay, so hard lines in this case especially refers to those lines in your value scale. You will lose 2 points if you outline these instead of having staging value. So your lines should be created by the difference in value, not by a pencil outline, okay? And then your lower right signature, LR stands for lower right signature. Your signature should be placed below your value scale, and it should not go beyond the end of your value scale, okay? You need to have something to indicate scale in your image, okay? So I use this as an example. I think an ordinary house key would be okay. Okay, so something that has a very standard size needs to be in your picture. So I put a quarter. I'm kind of interested to see what you guys come up with. I think a pencil would be a bad indication because it's hard to see whether that pencil was new or whether that pencil was old. So choose an object that is always the same size. If it's not a quarter, maybe it's a ruler. Okay, so choose something that has a common and consistent size. And that has to be in your image in order to receive credit, okay? So please make sure that you are doing that. Clearly, there is a signature requirement on this assignment, so it's going to be impossible really to cheat and turn in somebody else's. But I want you to just be aware that when an art teacher goes through art school, we become experts at identifying similarities between projects. So I haven't had to deal with this much, okay, but I've had to deal with it a couple times as far as academic dishonesty goes. So turn in a value scale that you created with your hand and your mind, okay? Do not turn in someone else's work. I keep looking for those things as we move forward because I want you to be an honest academic student and turn in your own work. Okay, this is due today. Turn it in before the end of the evening. I will accept them as late as 10 p.m. Okay, so turn it in before 10 p.m. I'm giving you guys a whole bunch of time to make sure that you do an excellent job in case you need to restart.